Hello friends, welcome back. UFC 311, first picks and prediction video of the year, first real long form video of the year as well. We're about to get right into it. First off, any announcements? Yes, actually, thank you guys so much for 100 subscribers. 100 subscriber special, you know, gotta hit the grindstone, gotta train a little bit for it. Weather is getting nicer, that will be coming. It's really the only thing before we hop into these picks. I hope that I see a lot of you tomorrow night, Saturday night, for the UFC 311 Smoky Hours Fight Companion. I feel like it's going to be a good one. I think UFC 311 is going to be pretty crack. I'm not going to lie. There have been some dramatic last-minute changes, specifically with the main event, and we'll get to that when we get to that. But first, early prelim, the opening prelim bout, flyweight bout, men's flyweight bout. Tagir Ulanbekov versus Clayton Carpenter. Tagir Ulanbekov, we meet again, man. Again, I've said it before on this channel. If you've been watching, Tagir Ulanbekov was one of the original ops of this channel. We pray on that dude's downfall. I highly doubt it's going to come via Clayton Carpenter. Like, I actually think this is a mismatch. I think it's an unfortunate matchup here for Clayton Carpenter. I think Clayton Carpenter is good. He seems to be a good prospect. Could improve a lot, but very green. I think that this is a complete mismatch in terms of like experience and skill, straight skill right now, like eye test skill. I think Tagir should actually finish him by submission. I'm thinking in round 2, very calmly. Now, Tagir is susceptible to getting lit the fuck up on the feet. Cody Durden lit him the fuck up, smoking on Tagir, until Tagir started cheating, throwing his feet in the cage to take the back, stuff like that. In this instance, that kind of helps us that he's a dirty fighter. I have that in my notes. He is a dirty fighter. Not in the sense that he's going to like maliciously foul you, like do damage, like poke you in the eye, fucking fishhook you or something. But he's going to cheat in the sense like, you know, grab the cage, use the cage, shit like that. Clayton Carpenter, I think, unfortunately, is going to be handed his first loss. And his first loss by stoppage. Yeah, by round 2. At the hands of Tagir Ulanbekov. That should be a good fight, though. Good for Tagir. Moving on. Pretty Ricky Turcios. Woo, spooky hours for this man. Versus Benardo Sopaj. We meet again. Benardo Sopaj, man. A lot of you may remember, or maybe not, well, actually, before we get to a lot of you may remember, a decent amount of you may only know of Benardo Sopaj, because he got brutally face-fucked by Vinicius Oliveira. What some of you may not know about that is that he was actually low-key dog-walking Vinicius in that fight. Maybe not dog-walking, but I remember him winning that fight, the majority of that fight, and then he hit, like, the craziest fucking death gas I've ever... Like, one of the craziest death gases I've ever seen, and he became prey. The Predator became prey. Man got face-fucked. It is what it is. Sometimes that shit happens. It was just an absolutely brutal highlight reel knockout. I hope that that has not permanently compromised Benardo Sopaj, meaning that his ability to take punches isn't reduced. That's really what I'm hoping here. I'm hoping that that was just a horrible knockout. Put that one behind him. Very young, 24 years old. Ricky Turcios isn't old, but he's starting to get up there. And also just not on a horrible skid, but just in terms of total career for Ricky Turcios, momentum's slowing down, like in a different stage of it, really. It's just completely different. But Benardo Sopaj, even with a horrible loss, such as his last fight, I think he's still young enough and it's still early enough in his career where he can turn that around, specifically in the UFC as well, because they actually have a similar amount of fights. Ricky Turcios, the more experienced fighter, by just a little bit. Moving on, third fight of the night, men's bantamweight bout, Rinya Nakamura versus Muin Gafurov. Muin Gafurov actually came through for me for the one time. I can't remember which fight it was. But similar to the other Tajik guys, man's off the roids, ridiculously. And he's not like a straight shitter, but I think Rinya should be able to take this one. I'm going to say by decision. It might be a tough-ass fight. Muin is very strong, though. And again, that roidsy strength you got to be very careful of. A physically even matchup between these two fighters. Rinya coming in undefeated, looking a little spooky. That should be a good fight. These are decent openers. I actually don't see a lot of submissions, even though I have Tagir submitting Clayton Carpenter. Other than that, I have it Pretty much all decisions and knockouts, actually. KOs and TKOs. Moving on. The first women's bout of the night. Women's bantamweight bout. Carol Rosa versus Ailín Pérez. I actually think this is kind of a tough one to pick. Ailín Pérez seems to be doing better and better, getting more of that grappling-heavy control game going and working for her until it doesn't work, really. I do think that might be enough to eke out a decision win over Carol Rosa, who's still good, but maybe been in poorer form as of late. You know, not on a bad skid, but just poorer form, competing in some grappling tournaments or some shit, losing, but still competing in them, talking about Karol. Ailín Pérez has been relatively active. I am leaning Ailín Pérez by decision. I'm just thinking if I'm going to switch right now because Carol Rosa ends up piecing her up on the feet. I think I'll stick with Ailín. Stick with Ailín. Little decision. That fight should be whatever. Should be a okay fight. Shouldn't be a bad fight. None of these fights should be bad, you know, and not all UFC events are like that, even pay-per-views. Not all UFC pay-per-views are like that. This is a good one in that sense. Moving on. Men's middleweight bout. Zachary Reese versus Azamat Bekoev. I'm not too sure how you pronounce his name. I did watch some highlights of his, but I didn't watch any full fights all the way through, so I didn't really hear any commentators pronounce it. But this, I think, is also a really hard fight to pick up because Zachary Reese has shown us not a lot. He has shown us good, but not a lot of good. But he's shown us, like, low-key too much bad for my liking. If you can kind of get what I'm saying there. That was confusing the way I articulated it. But the amount of bad, so to speak, again, to say it like that, like, is more concerning to me than, like, the amount of good, of skill that he's shown, that it reassures me. Again, like, if you can follow with that, you'll understand what I'm saying, but I'm going to take a chance on Azamat Bekoev. My gut pick was Zachary Reese, because Zachary Reese, it's also should be mentioned, he was anticipating a fight. He was actually originally supposed to fight this man, Turcios Dumas, who's been beefing with fucking some dude had no jumper.
Let's call this motherfucker who wants the 4X's fade. This is that SD dude that's been really trying to...
Oh, yeah, lock him in.
Trying to holler.
Yeah, lock him in. Lock him in.
He got a Florida
lock
number.
Lock him in. Lock him in.
Yo! What up, bro? Hey, I got your opponent right here.
Oh, shit! Yeah. Oh, I've been seeing it. Give me the motherfucking phone. Turn it to this motherfucker. Can they see that motherfucker?
Yeah, but hold it up to the mic.
Hey, off the back. Hey, look.
Off the back. If you know, you know. Zachary Reese was initially slated to fight Turcios Dumas. I actually think that was going to be a really good fight. Zachary Reese starts strong, but the dude also went to war with that guy. I want to say his name was Jose Medina. In his last fight, he went to fucking war with him, and he really shouldn't have. Like, not to shit on the dude Medina, but it shouldn't have been that close, if I remember it. I remember Zach Reese actually took off on him crazy. He has really good kicks. He's very strong. He's very gifted physically. Dude's 6'4", 77-inch reach. But I don't know what it is. He's just a tweaker. Like, it's very strange. Not even just a tweaker. He really just gets caught, like, in crazy moments. Like, Azamat, on the other hand, I've seen this dude, he's smaller. He's a lot smaller than Zachary Reese, but I've seen this dude violate people in some of his highlights. Specifically his last fight, he fucked up some dude to either retain or take the LFA middleweight championship, and that shit was a little spooky. Just straight up interrupted his uppercut. Sent him to hell. And Azamat, despite having an 18-3 overall record, it's not padded. And I was going to say, despite having an 18-3 record and being Eastern European, being of Slavic descent, it's not... His shit isn't padded. His record isn't padded. It's actually good. That's a good thing. Like, whoa. No Bogdan Guskov vibes. Like, none of that. And we'll be getting to that motherfucker in a second, actually. I'm going to take a chance on Azamat. I won't be too surprised if Zachary Reese does put him out in round one. Round one, I think, is when Zachary Reese is at his most dangerous. But we'll just have to see. I'm going to say Azamat by, funnily enough, by KO TKO in round 1. I think that it's going to be like a race to the punch situation. And Azamat comes out on top. This fight coming up, men's lightweight bout, Grant Dawson versus Diego Ferreira, aka CDF, Carlos Diego Ferreira. This shit is painful to pick. It's going to be great to watch, I think, but very painful to pick. The reason why, I've been shitting on Grant Dawson forever since the Bobby Green knockout, right? That motherfucker made me lose. I don't even want to talk about it. But ever since then, I was saying Grant Dawson can't be trusted. It doesn't matter who he fights. It doesn't matter if... You should be concerned if you're walking down the street with Grant Dawson and a really fucking stiff breeze picks up. Then you should be scared for him. Like, get ready to catch him. But he redeemed himself. Man redeemed himself. Man went to war. He put his nose down to the grindstone. He's gotten some good wins, some tough wins, where he did take some damage after that. Unfortunately, people still are putting him in trouble on the feet. But he's very effective on the ground when he can get the fights to the ground. He's very strong. Deceptively old. Not old, but he looks a lot older than he actually... Or he is a lot older than he looks. Excuse me. And again, I reiterate, he did redeem himself. This is the thing, though. That vulnerability to one-shots, like, that will always... that cloud will always follow Grant Dawson. Diego fucking Ferreira specifically, man... That dude finds knockouts. That's like the worst thing. That dude actually finds knockouts and finishes and puts people away to win fights. It's very fucking dangerous here, man. Fuck the age gap. Fuck Diego Ferreira being 40 years old. Get that out of your mind. That shit doesn't matter, actually, at all. Because Bobby Green, way older than fucking Grant Dawson, I'm pretty sure, as well. Smoked him. Diego might do the same thing. I'm fucking praying that does not happen. I'm going with Grant Dawson here by decision, but it's so possible. Like, I can see Grant Dawson getting knocked the fuck out with like a left or a right hook, and it's one of those knockouts where man gets like knocked up. He's like, oop, like gets hit with the hook and goes, oop, oop, gets like knocked up and out. Like it's I can see that. I can see that happening. Like, it's traumatizing me, actually. Prayers for fucking Grant Dawson. And prayers for us, because I guess we're rocking with him. Like, more likely than not, I think that Grant Dawson will just be able to get Diego Ferreira down and win by decision. Maybe he gets a TKO like the last one he got, where he was able to just control the guy and pound him out against Rafa Garcia, who's a very tough fighter, a very skilled fighter. I think Diego is a lot stronger than Rafa, though. At least with the strikes, with the punches, right? Like, he finds fucking knockouts, man. That's the worst part about it, is a dude is either susceptible to getting knocked the fuck out, or he just gets like, he has lapses of defense where he just gets caught lovely, and that guy gets matched up against a guy who finds knockouts, who finds these moments. These moments just present themselves to him. Like, that dude's like a knockout magnet. Like, knockouts are attracted to him. Like, it's really scary here. I'm going to go with Grant Dawson. Grant Dawson should be the favorite in this fight. I think he is the favorite. I think Grant Dawson by decision is the way. Moving on to a fight that is spooky, actually. In fact, I was going to take a real leap of faith on the newcomer here until I heard something very scary. We're talking about Bogdan Guskov versus Billy Elikana. That's how I'll pronounce his name. Bogdan Guskov, if you know, you know. I really dislike that motherfucker. I respect him a lot more than his debut and a couple of his fights after that, because man proved that even though he possibly had a padded record, not even possibly, even though he has a padded record, he does know how to knock people out, and he's been able to win fights. Simple as that. So he will continue to get fights in the UFC until someone exposes him. Normally in a situation like this, too, to actually give you a little bit more insight into my thought process, this is completely superstitious, too. But when I see something like that, I'm like, God damn, this dude Bogdan Guskov, I've been fading Bogdan like all of his fights because I know that he's a fucking fraud. But this time, he's getting matched up against a dude that he should actually violate, so you know what that means. This dude, Billy Ailín, on his fucking UFC debut is probably going to highlight, like, spinning wheel kick KO Bogdan Guskov. But until I heard this, and by heard, I mean I read it online, Billy Ailín has not been training recently. In fact, he wasn't training up until they told him that he was going to step in, because this fight was supposed to be Bogdan Guskov versus Johnny Walker. I think Johnny Walker, that was another painful part of that. That matchup was like so fucked up for me, because we've seen Johnny Walker just get put away recently, right? He had that little run that made some of us believe again, and then he got smoked a couple times. When I hear that he gets matched up against a dude like Bogdan Guskov, I'm like, whoa, that's hope. Like, that's so much hope. I have to hope for that. I have to hope. Like, that he could easily smoke Bogdan. But I digress. Bogdan Guskov versus Billy Ailín. I wanted to go Billy Ailín. Dude apparently has not been training. I'm going to buy into that rumor. And Bogdan really does know how to knock people out. So Bogdan Guskov is the pick here by KO TKO. I'm going to say in round 2, I'll say maybe he takes it slow, maybe he hurts Billy, maybe Billy hurts him, and they get into the second round before Bogdan finds a knockout. He usually finds a knockout in some weird-ass way. It's strange, but he does have kind of a unique style. Like, he kind of fights, he strikes in an unorthodox fashion. He does have sneaky power. You know, he hits dudes, they get hurt. It's strange, but... And the worst part about Bogdan, not the worst thing, just being hyperbolic there, but another crazy thing about Bogdan Guskov is his ability to toe the line consistently between winning and losing fucking fights. It doesn't make sense. Like, God, I mean, we might see it come tomorrow, but men's light heavyweight bout, Bogdan Guskov versus Billy Ailín. We're going with Bogdan Guskov by second round KO TKO or DQ. Moving on to a men's heavyweight bout, Jailton Almeida versus Sergey Spivak. Also tricky, also very tricky. I'm going with Jailton Almeida by decision because I think more likely than not he will be able to get in on the takedown. Excuse me, probably not going to be another Curtis Blades scenario here. Maybe Sergey can hurt him on the feet. Sergey is not like some bum. He's not a slouch that just has to be pushed off to the side. It's like, all right, Jailton's going to win another decision. There's a big possibility that Sergey actually hurts Jailton big when he's going for the takedown or before he even shoots the takedown. And actually, this dude picked up a nice sub over this man, Marcin Tybura, who is dangerous on the ground himself. Talking about Sergey Spivak here. A little younger than Jailton Almeida as well. And isn't going to be just like Lil Broad when it comes to size. Sergey probably is he is the more well-rounded fighter. But I think Jailton will kind of see a return to form and be able to hold him down, at least, you know, lay him pray. Maybe he gets a sub, maybe. But I'm going to go with Jailton Almeida by decision. Moving on to a fight that should be hyped up. I mean, the anticipated result, is probably the most probable. It probably will happen. Talking about men's bantamweight bout, Peyton Talbot versus Raoni Barcelos, man. Peyton Talbot has actually pretty much all but definitively proven that he is him. He's evolved past. This is like the last fight for him. I think that he can really be classified still as like even the hottest prospect. You know, like he's talked the talk, he's walked the walk. For real. That dude has not only special, like lethal power. Talking about Peyton Talbot. Not only does he have the touch of death, he actually has insane timing. His timing on all of his strikes are crazy. He's unbelievably composed, very calm when he's in there. And he makes it look easy. That's the thing. No matter the opponent that he's gone against, he's made them look amateurish. He's made it look very easy. It's very impressive, actually, how Peyton Talbot not only makes his opponents look easy, but he himself also seems like he's improving with every fight. And man's been on the YouTube grind, low-key. Shout out to Peyton Talbot. Peyton Talbot is going to be the pick here by round 1 KO TKO. A bit of a mismatch, in my opinion. Raoni Barcelos, way closer to the end of his career than, like, fucking Peyton Talbot is, maybe even to, like, the halfway point of his, you know? Like, it's really, really spooky. Peyton Talbot by round 1 KO TKO, not much to say about that one. Moving on to a fight that I'm anticipating a lot. I'm very hyped for it. I might be frying some people's matis. Like, this might be... A lot of people might be saying, damn, this guy Cole's going emotional with Kevin Holland again. We're talking about Kevin Holland versus Reinier de Ridder. I'm going with Kevin Holland by fucking knockout / technical knockout or possibly even disqualification. Okay? Here's why. Reinier de Ridder, despite winning and picking up a finish, if I remember correctly, I watched his debut against GM3. GM3 was really getting the better of him until he wasn't. Until shit changed. Until I think it was like the end of round 2. It was the end of either round 1 or round 2 where actually Reinier had caught GM3 really fucking bad. And he almost knocked him out. He dropped him straight stiff as a board, standing back straight. Like put him in a coffin. Put him in a fucking coffin, actually. GM3 with a little throwback challenge on that. Put him in a fucking coffin. In the Vine days. Despite all of that shit, Reinier de Ridder, I ultimately think, got exposed kind of in that fight. His striking was fucking atrocious. GM3 was able to stick with him on the ground all the way until the bitter end. And despite Reinier having a clear advantage, I think, over Kevin Holland and BJJ, Kevin Holland knows jiu-jitsu, you know? The real problem with Kevin Holland, everyone's kind of privy to it by this point, is who is actually going to show up when Kevin Holland comes? Is it going to be a Kevin Holland that took this fight seriously, that trained his hardest for it, you know, or is it going to be Kevin that's, as of late, just been clocking in, you know, doing his job? Like, it's nothing too crazy, but I think that's what really depends, is what version of Kevin shows up. I'm banking on Kevin, a serious Kevin Holland, to show up. Because I think Kevin Holland is... I think that the difference between Kevin Holland's striking and Reinier de Ridder's striking is wider and more in the favor of Kevin than the difference between Kevin's grappling and Reinier's grappling is for Reinier. I think that, yeah, I don't think that's too hard to follow. I don't think that's too hard to follow. Reinier is a better grappler than Kevin Holland, but that gap isn't as big as the gap between the striking of Kevin Holland and Reinier de Ridder. I don't think that that's the case at all. Or I think that's the absolute case, excuse me. Tweaking out a little bit here. But that's really the reasoning for this pick. That's even the reasoning for... I'm pretty sure I committed to that, didn't I? Actually, I didn't commit to a round, but I could see Kevin Holland winning by KO, TKO, DQ. I'm not sure on a round. Anytime. Anytime it comes. If it does happen, it'll probably be sooner rather than later. But Reinier has some power. And of course, on the ground, he's very dangerous. He has to be respected. I really, really do think he exposed himself, though. We'll have to see. Kevin Holland is the pick there. Moving on. Moving on to the featured fight of the night. Jiří Procházka versus Jamal Hill. Sweet dreams. Whoa, buddy. This fight should be fucking crack. Should be spooky hours. I'm going with Jiří, but I hope people just haven't, like, totally classified Jamal Hill as, like, some kind of, like, UFC meme at this point. Jamal Hill was knocking motherfuckers out. Like, he's a good fighter, man. Like, this isn't a walk in the park for Jiří. Jiří could get put away in round 1. Granted, I think Yuri's tweaker, chaotic style will get the better of Jamal Hill. I want to say that Jiří gets a finish, but more of a TKO, more of like a pressure TKO, maybe a ground and pound TKO kind of thing, as opposed to like a straight cold-blooded knockout, excuse me. Jamal Hill is kind of scary. This one is, I think, actually more of a coin toss than the odds would lead you to believe. I'm not sure of the odds off the top of my head, so maybe I should have hold off from saying that, but I think that fight's actually pretty 50-50, TBH. Moving on to the co-main event for the men's bantamweight championship. Merab the Machine Dvalishvili defending his title against Umar Nurmagomedov, the challenger. A lot of people are going with Umar, and I'm one of them. I think that in terms of grappling, pretty even. The real difference here is the striking. Umar is a very fucking good striker. Merab is not. That is his weakness. If the problem is that Merab is actually unbelievably, he's fucking relentless, so he can basically spam grappling and wrestling so much that you can't even really get the strikes in. But I think Umar will be able to deal with that very calmly. Maybe not calmly. But who knows? I mean, I was extremely confident that Sean would be able to fucking smoke Merab on the feet. But, I mean, we saw what happened there. So, maybe not. It might be very surprising. I do think Umar is going to win, but we'll have to see. And I actually think he's going to win by KO TKO. I'm not going to lie. Like a head kick or some shit. Some real spooky shit coming up. That's just the vibe. Moving on to the main event. Islam versus Renato Money Moicano. Moicano want money, man. This is the big thing. It was supposed to be Arman Sarukian. However, I think Arman, the lore is, the rumor is, man's back was sore, was taking back shots. Man was getting... Mans were digging in his fucking guts or some shit. Arman's back blown out. And so... they gave Beneil Dariush, they were like, yo, brother, we'll pay you half your purse and we'll give you some tickets. Don't even bother. Like, you know, you don't got to worry about anything. Don't worry about Renato Moicano. They said, fuck off. And Renato will step up. It's spooky, man. Is this a mismatch? Type shit. But not the worst. Not the worst. If Moicano were to win, right? Would this be the greatest upset of all time? I think it's definitely an argument. Like, it's definitely in the realm of, like, the Amanda Nunes, Juliana Pena, the Sean Strickland, Israel Adesanya. It's definitely among that. Is it number one? I don't know, but it might be. And you can I'm assuming that you can guess where I'm getting to with all of this, that I am picking Islam. I'm still going to ride with Islam. There are actually a non-insignificant amount of people going with Renato, like, not even by submission. They're actually going with Renato, like, decision and shit like that. That is craziness, man, I think. Like, no disrespect to Renato, obviously. Because Renato, cue the guts theme, he's the fucking struggler. He is a fucking struggler, man. It's craziness. He's durable, but, again, that's what I always say. When you have if you're known for having a chin, if you're known for being durable, how the fuck do we know that? You were getting your ass kicked and you didn't get put away. That's how we know that. You were getting your ass kicked and you took it. That's how we know you're durable. It's not the best, you know? It's a real double-edged sword with that motherfucker. Islam's striking is nasty. He has power. He has everything, really. I low-key will be rooting for Renato, but Islam by KO TKO in round 2 is going to be the official pick. I think that's as simple as it really has to be. Like, you have to think, objectively, is this an easier fight? Did Islam get an easier fight? Or is it simply different to you? If it's simply different, then maybe the Renato pick isn't as crazy, if you truly believe that. But if you think that this is an easier fight, then I think that says it all to you. I think it's a slightly easier fight. Slightly easier fight. If Renato pulls it off, it would be absolutely fucking crazy. I think that's pretty much it. I'll let you guys go. This one kind of felt like a weird pick video. I feel like I'm out of rhythm. Haven't made one in a while, but live streams have been good. Got a ton of subscribers with the last one. We cleared 100. We're at like 102 subscribers. Thank you guys so much, really, from the bottom of my heart. You guys don't even know how much it means to me. Forever going forward, seriously, with this shit. Thank you all. And thank you for watching. Hopefully I see you guys tomorrow. Like the video if you like the video. Dislike the video if you dislike the video. Smash that fucking subscribe button, not the like button. Subscribe. Let me know if the subscribe button lights up. I've seen other videos do that where they're like, oh, subscribe, and the subscribe button like changes colors and shit. Let me know if that happens, actually. Subscribe. But, again, thanks for watching. As always, much love. Big kiss.